At the Muanda manganese mine in Africa, there is a ropeway 76 kilometers long. It has been called the world's longest ropeway. But actually, the world's longest ropeway is in Sweden. It is 96 kilometers long in the northern county of Västerbotten. And it both is and was. We're going to show you just what that means. It all started at the beginning of the Second World War. Sweden was blockaded, and soon there was a serious shortage of copper. The government asked the Boliden mining company to speed up the mining of copper in the Kristineberg mine. But there was a problem how to transport the ore down to the smelter at Norsjö on the coast of the Gulf of Bothnia. Road haulage was not the answer. Because of the war, there was a shortage of rubber for truck tires. A railway with tunnels and bridges would take too long to build. The advantage of a ropeway was that it would interfere very little with the terrain. It could be hung in a straight line across mountains and valleys. Nordström's Linbana AB was contracted to head the project, together with Boliden. But it was a rush job. The surveyors made their measurements. Teams of men cleared brush and shoveled snow, and trees were felled. By spring, the right-of-way was cleared for the construction work. Excavation and concrete work was started. They worked at a rapid pace, the different teams competing to finish their share of the job. To measure the area and build the concrete blocks, the mining company had to build 120 kilometers of forest roads, using 40,000 tons of gravel. And it was difficult to bring in 60,000 tons of building materials, partly when the ground was thawing and the roads had poor foundations.
Måste gruvbolaget bygga 120 kilometer skogsvägar. Det gick åt 40 000 ton grus för dessa vägar. Och det var inte nådigt att få fram 60 000 ton byggnadsmaterial, delvis under svår tjällossning och med bottenlösa vägar.
After the excavation, formwork and concrete pouring, teams of ropeway technicians came in trucks, cars and tractors. They had to be mobile in order not to waste time. In only 1 year and 5 days, ahead of schedule, 1,500 men built this huge transport system. They had built 515 concrete masts on cliffs and lake beds, set up 25 tension stations with 30-ton weights to keep the ropes taut, and constructed 8 machine houses to keep the loads moving. On April 14, 1943, the first bucket traveled the 96 kilometers down to Boliden. Almost 1,500 buckets held 1.4 tons of ore concentrate each, gliding across the landscape at just under 3 meters per second. 1,000 tons of ore concentrate was transported per day in a way that was safe and did not harm the environment, year after year. But of course it required some maintenance. The rope workers were tough men doing a tough job. Their life was something like that of a sailor's. They had to climb masts, keep their balance well, and get up there in wind, rain, and snow. And even if they were on land and not on the ocean, there might not be another human being as far as the eye could see. The sailor, at least, was on a ship surrounded by his fellow sailors and would soon be relieved. The Ropeway offered an adventurous life.
Men han har i alla fall sin kapten där nere, sina kamrater och sin koj. Och hans avlösning sker i regel på bestämda tider. Linbanan å andra sidan drar ut sina väktare på månget ensligt äventyr.
It's not surprising that there are a lot of legends in connection with this ropeway. For instance, there's the story of the lovesick swain who thought he had figured out a way to get to his loved one. Now what? It's stopping. Right over the middle of the river. 40 meters up. Oh no, it's shutting down for the weekend. After 44 years, in 1987, Boliden decided to close down the ropeway for good. At that time, it needed a lot of expensive renovation. The decision was sad, but final. This is the end of an era, and that's unfortunate.
På ett sätt är det ju tråkigt.
However, couldn't this sad situation be turned into something positive? Many people in the area around the Ropeway thought that at least some of this unique transport system should be saved as a cultural monument. In the municipality of Norsjö, they formed what they called the world's longest ropeway association, and they decided to do something about it. The lovesick swain seemed almost to be enjoying himself. Perhaps the ropeway could be used for tourist traffic. The debate was soon well underway. And now, after a major effort by the Ropeway Association, well supported by the municipality of Norsjö and local enthusiasts and companies, we can again present the world's longest ropeway. An impressive tourist attraction. A stretch of 13.5 kilometers has been renovated, making it today the world's longest passenger-carrying ropeway. It now has comfortable cabins, which give you a fabulous view. For 3 kilometers of the way, you cross over lakes and waterways. And during the 2-hour-long trip, you can learn something about forestry, too, from the National Forest Enterprise of Sweden. With a little luck, you may see some of the forest's inhabitants. At the highest point, you are carried 20 meters above ground. At the lowest point, 7 meters. After the ropeway tour, the return trip is by bus because there are more attractions coming. For the children, there is Kalle's Railway, which goes around the old open pit. The train is pulled by a real mine locomotive, and the coaches are modified ropeway buckets. Would you like to pan for gold? Charlie will teach you how, and he also guarantees that you'll find gold. It's true. The first head frame, built in the 30s, has now been reconstructed. The upper story houses the Saga Theatre, where you can watch the original film about the ropeway from the 40s. The lower floor has a ropeway museum. Here you can study the history of the ropeway. In the dressing house, ore was sorted by hand in the 30s. This house is a copy. It's a coffee shop and service building. A typical setting of the 40s. A visit here gives you a sense of mining and industrial history. And the ropeway is really unique. There is nothing like it anywhere else in the world. Someone said that the trip was really tops, and it certainly is.